show dedicated to making delicious drinks as well as giving some back history on how those drinks were initially created. Today we're going to be talking about the Moscow Mule and telling you a little bit about the history that goes behind it. So let's begin. Everyone seems to think that the Moscow Mule originated in New York City or perhaps Los Angeles, but what is little known is that it actually goes back to Moscow, Russia. In 1941, Sophie Berezhinsky was a woman on a mission. She had immigrated to the United States from Russia and was carrying a heavy burden. She had 2,000 solid copper mugs, and Sophie's father owned and operated a copper factory in Russia and was known as Moscow Copper Company. Sophie had created the design for the original copper mug that is now so famously linked to the Moscow Mule cocktail. Her father ran the presses that stamped out the mugs. The one tool both Sophie and her father lacked, though, was the slick skills of a salesperson. Neither Sophie nor her father were able to sell the mugs in Russia whatsoever, so the decision was made that they would journey to the U.S. because, after all, America was the land of opportunity. However, after some time, the mugs seemed destined for the scrap heap in America too. Sophie's husband, Max, was tired of the coffee mugs cluttering the house and gave her an ultimatum. Either she finds a buyer or the mugs were going to be thrown away. Sophie couldn't bear to see the copper mugs she had designed and manufactured with her father end up in a landfill. She began to desperately seek out a buyer, walking door to door in Hollywood, California, in search of a restaurant or lounge owner who would perhaps be interested in purchasing the mugs. During one of those long days in search of a buyer for the mugs, fate had intervened at the famous Cock and Bull pub on Sunset Strip. Sophie walked into the Cock and Bull pub at just the right time on just the right day in 1941 to help create a cocktail America would fall in love with. John Martin had purchased the floundering Smirnoff vodka distillery. Yes, that Smirnoff. In the 1930s, and though he was successful as the head of G.F. Hublin and Brothers, a food and spirits importer that made A1 steak sauce so popular, he wasn't as fortunate with vodka. Americans had no interest in vodka at the time. You see, beer, whiskey, and other cocktails ruled the roost in America, and Jack Morgan was in a similar mind. As was the owner of the Cock and Bull, he was trying to introduce America to his own brand of ginger beer. The two men were already good friends when they met at Morgan's pub to drown their woes. As the duo lamented their lackluster sales and sought redemption for their respective products, in walked Sophie with her solid copper mugs. As Sophie would tell the story, the trio spent hours developing a drink that would bring together a fizzy nature of the ginger beer and the punch of vodka and the cold properties of copper to create the next great cocktail. After a number of taste tests and a few failed concoctions, they stumbled upon a recipe for a cocktail that would solve their problems. The Moscow Mule was born on that day in 1941. The perfect combination of vodka and ginger beer housed in a solid copper mug that kept the drink cold and enhanced its flavor and aroma, resulting in a cocktail that America would fawn over for the next century and beyond. The Moscow Mule is often served in a copper mug. The popularity of this drinking vessel was attributed to Martin, who went around the United States to sell the Smirnoff vodka and popularize the Moscow Mule. Martin asked bartenders to pose with a specialty copper mug and a bottle of Smirnoff vodka and took Polaroid photographs of them. He would take 2 pictures, leaving one with the bartender for display, and the other photo was put into a collection and used as proof to the next bar. Martin visited the popularity of the Moscow Mule. The copper mug remains, to this day, a popular serving vessel for the Moscow Mule. According to a 1942 Insider Hollywood article, the Moscow Mule was most popular in Los Angeles, where it originated. The ingredients in the Moscow Mule cocktails are acidic, and the resulting beverage has a pH well below 6.0. This creates a problem when using traditional copper mugs, as copper can start to dissolve into acidic solutions. Copper in solution is considered to be toxic in concentrations above 1 milligram per liter. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration Model Food Code specifically prohibits copper from coming into contact with foods that have a pH below 6.0. The advisory relates only to solid copper mugs, though. Copper mugs that are lined with stainless steel or other food-safe materials are exempt from the advisory. When making a Moscow Mule, there are some discrepancies. Historically, if you look back at the original story being told, it was said that they had some old stock of lemons that were just taking up space and were going to go to waste. So in the original recipe, they did not use limes, they used lemons instead for the original Moscow Mule. Over time, though, and I'm sure over trial and error, they came to agree, though, that in the modern recipe of the Moscow Mules, that limes were actually more tasty. I guess they gave it a different flavor profile that was preferable to the lemon. And nowadays they're actually garnished too. You put a slice of lime on the rim of the copper mug. But today I'm going to hold to history and make one of those historical original Moscow Mules. Unfortunately, like the FDA code says, it's poisonous to have acidic solutions in copper mugs. So I have a modern day copper mug, which is lined with stainless steel on the inside. So it's up to code and it won't poison me. Thank God. So that's what I'll do. And I'm going to hold to the original Moscow Mule recipe, which was 4 parts of ginger beer to 1.5 parts of vodka to 0.5 parts lemon juice. Of course, I'm going to garnish it though, because the garnish looks nice. I'll put a lemon garnish on it for a little flair. And of course, this is all with ice in the mug as well. So without further ado, let's start making our Moscow Mule. So the first step with anything that you do in this day and age of COVID-19 is you should wash your hands, because keeping yourself clean from bacteria so you don't get sick and contaminate your food or beverages is always the number one goal. So wash those hands. Number 2, fill your mug about halfway full with ice. You can use cubed, crushed, round, it doesn't matter. That's totally preference. I just use regular cubes. It's fine. Slice up your lemons. Make them about yay big. They have to be easy enough for you to squeeze to get the juice out. That should be fine. Then, what you want to do is squeeze those lemons into your mug. Cue the 80s montage. Then, of course, always make sure you have 1 wedge left for your garnish at the end. It's all about the presentation. The next thing you want to do is measure out 3 ounces of vodka. I like new vodka. It's made in Texas, distilled 7 times. Super, super smooth. You can't get better vodka than this, and it has got an excellent price as well at around $20. You can't beat it. So measure 3 ounces out, add that to your ice, like so. And then the next thing you want to do is measure out 8 ounces of ginger beer. Now, I highly recommend this ginger beer right here. Let's see if we can get a close-up on it. It's Gosling's ginger beer. It is excellent. It has a very good, strong flavor profile. It's got a hint of spiciness to it from the ginger. It really, really makes the perfect Moscow Mule. I can't say enough about this stuff. 8 ounces. Add it to your cup. Like so. Then, finish it off, just give it a little bit of a shake. A little swirl, get it mixed in there pretty good. From there, she's ready to drink. Salute. That tastes different with the lemon. Different in a, I wouldn't say good or bad way. Tastes just as good as the lime. It does give it a totally different profile, that's for sure. The lemon is excellent. And there you have it. Historically accurate Moscow Mule. And there you have it. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you found it entertaining as well as informational. And I'm going to continue making more drinks in this series. If you have any suggestions, of course, you can leave them in the comments below. I suggest, though, if you don't want to miss any of my future videos, that you should consider subscribing and, of course, hitting that notification bell on the bottom side of the screen there. But until next time, salut.